September 26th, 1983. Midnight. While the world slept in a fragile peace, the end of history was being written in a cold, dimly lit bunker south of Moscow. Imagine a room filled with the smell of stale coffee and ozone. A room where the glowing red screens of the Soviet early warning system suddenly turned into a death sentence. 5 sirens, 5 missiles launched from the United States. Target, the Soviet Union. The computer was certain. The satellites were clear. The protocol was absolute: retaliate. If the man behind the desk followed his orders, you wouldn't be standing here. Your city would be a shadow in a nuclear winter. But that night, the fate of 8 billion souls rested on the intuition of a single man. A man who looked at the apocalypse and did nothing.
The man was Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov. He wasn't a hero in a movie. He was an engineer, a cog in the massive, paranoid machine of the Cold War. To understand why he didn't press the button, you have to understand the world of 1983. The tension was at its breaking point. Just weeks earlier, the Soviets had shot down a Korean airliner, killing everyone on board. Reagan had called the USSR the evil empire. Both sides were waiting for the first spark. Inside the Serpukhov-15 bunker, the Oko satellite system was the Soviet Union's most advanced eye. It was designed to detect a launch the moment it left American soil. At exactly 00:14, the main screen flashed "Launch." Petrov's subordinates looked to him. The protocol said he had to notify the Kremlin immediately. If he did, the Soviet leadership would have launched a massive counterstrike within minutes. But Petrov stayed in his chair. He looked at the flashing red word "launch" and saw something the machines didn't. He saw a paradox. Why only 5? That was the thought that saved your life. If the United States were to start a nuclear war, they wouldn't start with 5 missiles. They would start with 5,000. It was a logical anomaly, but Petrov was an engineer in a system that punished logic and rewarded obedience. Minutes passed. The computer reported a second missile, then a third, a fourth, a fifth. The map showed 5 nuclear warheads streaking toward Russia. Petrov had the telephone in his hand. One call to the general staff and the missiles would fly from the silos in Siberia. He was sweating. His heart was a hammer against his ribs. He had no data to prove it was a glitch. He only had a feeling. The computer, he later said, is a fool. He decided to wait. He decided that if the end was coming, he wouldn't be the one to start it. What was actually happening? Was it a CIA hack? A Soviet traitor? No. The truth was far more terrifying because it was so simple. The high-altitude satellites had misread the sun's reflection off the top of the clouds. A rare alignment of the sun, the satellite's orbit, and high-altitude clouds had created a glitch that looked exactly like a missile launch. The most sophisticated defense system in human history had been fooled by a sunset. Petrov sat in that bunker for 23 minutes, waiting for the impact that never came. When the screens finally cleared, he realized he had won. He had won by doing absolutely nothing. If you're glad the sun didn't trigger World War III that night, prove you're human. Subscribe to No Brain Zone. We explore the thin line between existence and extinction.
Stanislav Petrov wasn't given a medal that night.
He was reprimanded. He was interrogated. He was eventually forced into early retirement. The Soviet Union couldn't admit their perfect machine had failed. He lived out his days in a small, dusty apartment, unknown to the billions of people he had saved. Petrov passed away in 2017. He never considered himself a hero. He just said, "I was in the right place at the right time." But his story teaches us a chilling reality. We are governed by systems we don't fully control. We trust algorithms with our lives, our money, and our peace. But sometimes the only thing standing between us and the abyss is a human who refuses to follow the code. The sirens are quiet now. The glitch is gone. You are now leaving the no-brain zone, but the mystery stays with you.